It's been an interesting tour of the world and its motorsport circuits thus far, from Lime Rock Park to Silverstone to VIR, and now in round number 4, we move to what is one of the most modern historic circuits in North America. This is going to be round number 4 of the Skip Barber Racing Series here, live from Road Atlanta. Don't go away. Welcome back here to RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live as coverage begins of round number 4 of the Skip Barber Racing School Championship, live from Road Atlanta. Randy Cheneth, Hugo Louis, and Alvin Nieves bring you all the action as we always do. And, well, it's going to be a busy week for this racetrack this week. Alvin, last week we saw the iRacing Petit Le Mans Series. We saw Movano, Heinzfeld Core Motorsports, and Glacier win across the 3 classes after 10 hours of racing. And now we get to bring you some more action here from Georgia. Long back straightaway for these guys in the Skip Barber cars. Hashtag Slipstream today.
It certainly will be, and from Saturday we were here for 10 hours, 10 very intense hours, that that fantastic race. But today, from 10 hours, I think this is gonna be more around 30 minutes of racing. But regardless, the racing will be fantastic. And yes, like you said, Randy, that back straight will be a really interesting spot here. There will be a lot of slipstream, and perhaps I should say that in terms of how the track layout is, and with the elevation changes, I think it should be pretty similar to what we saw last week at VIR.
Similar in some ways, but different in others for sure, because while I would say, VIR is relatively evenly spread. You have a tight layout, you have a tight section, and then a bit of a straight, high speed, and then you have the high speed S's, and then you slow it down again, then you go down the long back straight, technical stuff again, and then you go down the long front straight. It sort of evens it out. Here in Road Atlanta, I'd say it just sort of all does it in bunches. You go through the very fast, very technical first sector, and then you get a long straight up to the run towards, I believe it's 7 and 8, that basically bring you on the back straight. So you get a long straight that essentially leads to a long straight, and then you get the chicane, and then the run down into the final corner, which for these guys is going to be flat out. Well, VIR, it sort of has, a little here, a little there. Road Atlanta is very much high-speed stuff here, straights here, slow technical stuff here, go racing.
Absolutely, and like you had just mentioned, it is a lot more high speed than VIR for sure. But there are certain spots here at this track that drivers will be paying really close attention. One of those, turn 3, as you come up the top of the hill. But most importantly, Randy, notorious turn 5. You have to make sure that turn exit, you get it right. Otherwise, if you get too much of the curb and you touch that little bit of the grass and gravel, well, it's gonna be a long day.
So with that, let's go down your starting grid here for round number 4, live from Road Atlanta. As the field gets set for 14 laps of action, Jacobo Lopez takes pole with a full 0.2 of a second advantage over Justin Tipton. Kane Halliburton, Andrew Vicario, they're going to round out road number 2 with Swan Traum and Fahim Antonitis on road number 3. If you ever played against Questmage, Antonitis totally OP. Daniel Barrison and Francois Bollier in row 4 with Greg Seitz and Alexandre Martini, row number 5. Alor Fuentes and Carl Dronke, row 6. Daniel Forgarini and Justin Smith, row number 7. Russell Clark and Alex McKellar, row 8, with Ignacio Sanchez and Edwin Valerino on row number 9. Edwin did not set a qualifying time. Also a completely OP road card as we continue the Hearthstone memes here. But that said, grid is pretty much getting themselves set right now. A few more seconds till we go green, Alvin. What do you predict?
Well, I think we're going to get a repeat of last week's race. I think Jacobo Lopez is going to get the win of this race. I think it's the easy bet. I think he has shown pretty much throughout the first 3 races that he is the man to beat. Yeah, he had a little bit of a slip up in Silverstone, but the form that he has shown on Lime Rock and VIR, I think we're going to see a repeat of that here today at Road Atlanta.
So waiting on a couple cars to set the field here in these little Skip Barber machines, and then once that's complete, we will be green for 14 laps of action. As Alvin said, trickiest section of the racetrack is, pretty much that first sector down through the S's, and these guys will hit that early. But as the revs start to build, we're gonna wait for the lights on the iRacing get you to go out, and there they go, and we are green here at Road Atlanta. The start-finish line very, very deep on the front straight here at Road Atlanta. Because of that, it's going to be a long run into corner number 1, side by side for third between Picario and Halliburton for the first time into corner number 1. Almost 3 wide. They're going to be 2 wide here for third place. Also side by side in the back, and now uphill here near the pit exit and into this tricky and blind turn number 3. Hard on the brakes, down a couple gears, and you want to ideally clip that curb on the right-hand side as you drive down through the S's for the first time. Now, you're on the run down into corner number 5. One of the most important corners on the track as well. You need to basically clobber the curb on the right, turn the car in, clobber it at the apex, and drive all over the curb on exit as you come down this short chute here between turn number 5 and turn number 6, using the slipstream all the way, and now hard on the brakes for the 90-degree into right-hander into 6 and 7. You can make passes work here at this end of the racetrack, but everyone for the most part going to stay single file here amongst your leaders. And now Alvin down the long back straightaway they come for the first time. Jacobo Lopez with a bit of a gap, and Halliburton's hounding the back of Justin Tipton.
And I gotta say, I was surprised with Kane Halliburton because he got a very poor start, and Andrew Picario almost took advantage of it going into turn number 3. But regardless, he recovered and he's a P3. But Justin Tipton trying to get the fight here to Jacobo Lopez, and I think Jacobo Lopez is really not gonna put a fight here. Very smart. There's plenty of race to go. This is only lap 1.
So lap 1, and we see Justin Tipton inherit your race lead after a fantastic move down at the chicane. Is Jacobo Lopez done losing spots, though? Then Picario has a run as they come into the final corner. Flat out's what you want to be, and this is a slipstream section of the racetrack. But look at the way Justin Tipton's been able to stretch the gap. I think if Picario throws it up the inside here, we could see this gap amongst the leaders grow. But I think Picario realized that. Because of that, stayed patient here with Jacobo Lopez. So everyone in basically your top 10 going to stay single file. Then your second pack happens around 11th. Carl Dronke, who just had a big oversteer moment. We also have a car off in the grass. That is Daniel Forgarini as they work themselves up the hill into corners number 2 and 3. In the second section of cars, they bring themselves down through the S's for the first time as well. As Tipton trying to stretch the gap over Jacobo Lopez. And I think Lopez is there, Alvin, and he'll be all over the slipstream down the back straight this time.
And definitely this race will not be easy to try to break away from the slipstream. I was surprised from, looking at the battle for the lead, but it kind of slipped that Andrew Picario was able to make the move on Kane Halliburton as well. And that's why he almost put that pressure to Jacobo Lopez going into the start-finish straight into turn number 1. And I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Picario can also get a good run here and try to go for P2, but Jacobo Lopez also looking here to Justin Tipton, try to see if he can close that gap. Now looks to the left side of Justin Tipton and tries to make a move for the lead, and Andrew Picario also follows suit. Very smart move there from Andrew Picario.
The Precario is looking keen to move himself up into the second spot. They're going to be side by side between Precario and Tipton through the chicane here, through the left, through the right, and I think Tipton, he's going to have the slight edge with Precario, all sorts of momentum on the top side. Tron and Kane Halliburton behind. They look keen as well, side by side through the final corner here through lap number 2. This is dangerous work here this early on in the race, and I have to say that all they're doing is letting Adecobo Lopez stretch a pretty large gap through corner number 1. The entire field is going to cycle through once again. Justin Tipton gets cycled back into third. Halliburton, though, is now going to be hounding him from behind, and you might see him make a move here at the top of the hill. No, they're going to stay single file into the S's, which is likely a good move, but Adecobo Lopez has been able to stretch a bit of a margin, and that's one of the things that these drivers are going to need to think about, Alvin. It's not necessarily about who's quickest around this place at this racetrack. The fact of the matter is, if you let a driver skip away with the lead, you suddenly have to do a lot of hard work trying to reel that gap back in, versus if you play nice with those around you and just keep tabs of that driver out in front, you'd have that slipstream and close the gap down the back straight pretty much guaranteed every time. I'm not sure if Precario is close enough to have the slipstream this time through. It's pretty borderline.
I think you are right there, Randy. And then the other thing we have to remember, once the lead car breaks away, then you have to get all the cars to try to work together, and that is a tall order. And well, too, I'm trying to put a move here on Kane Halliburton looking at the right side, but Andrew Precario definitely not gonna be able to close that gap to Adecobo Lopez. So for this lap, Adecobo Lopez should be safe. Justin Tipton trying to follow suit with Andrew Precario, and I think this is gonna be these positions are gonna be pretty much all set. Kane Halliburton, with that said, defending that position very well, still on P4.
Let's see what the gaps are at the line. It was 7/10 of a second between Lopez and Precario last time through the start-finish line. They come across now, and the gap has cycled down to half a second. So a fantastic lap from Precario, but it's important to realize that Justin Tipton and everyone behind lost nearly 7/10 to your race leader. Justin Tipton in third. At 35-4, we have Halliburton off in the grass on the left-hand side. A bit of hard racing down into corner number 1. We'll get a replay of this incident up on your screens in just a moment, but this, I think, Alvin, not even basically a creature of hard racing. He was fighting side by side with Tron, and he just pushed a little bit wide on the exit of that first corner, and that curb on the left can be absolutely maniacal. Basically clipped that curb with the left side tires, got a little bit loose, thrown into the outside wall. Meanwhile, Precario through the S's has reeled Lopez back in.
And that is another very dangerous spot. You know, you can go side by side going into turn number 1, but you have to make sure that as you track out, like you just pointed out, Randy, that outside curb, you have to be really careful when you touch it, because if you touch it just slightly, just a little bit, you're definitely gonna start losing traction. And well, for Kane Halliburton, that's pretty much race done. But going back here in the battle for the lead, Andrew Precario definitely closing that gap, and it's definitely, I think he's gonna look for the lead here. No, I think Andrew Precario staying just behind Adecobo Lopez. I think that's a smart move in this position, knowing that they are breaking away from the pack. So I think for Andrew Precario and Adecobo Lopez, they may be just racing here, just along, no fighting between each of them, trying to break away from the group. I think this is smart.
Down in the corner number 1, your leaders are going to go, and once again, Precario not hounding the back of Lopez. He's there and he's close, but he's not harassing the mirrors of any way. He's putting a lot of pressure, knowing that Lopez can't mess up, otherwise he immediately loses that spot. I will say that I somewhat question Precario staying in line, Alvin, because I think we generally see this in the IndyCar on some of the big ovals, but I think we might see this effect here as well in these little Skip Barber cars around this track. And I think as long as the back straight is, I actually think it might be quicker for the second place runner Precario to simply just go out in front of Lopez, leapfrog, and then give Lopez the draft down the front. I'm not saying fight him side by side in the chicane, but I'm saying I think this long back straightaway is long enough that Precario should be able to get a run and get clear, and also give the slipstream to that number 1 of Lopez. And if that's the case, which I'm pretty confident it is, all that Precario, just checking up right here, just sitting there being slow, it's essentially meaning that neither car is getting the benefit of the slipstream, because the one isn't going to be going much faster, and the 8 is, not going to be going much faster because he doesn't really care. And this time they come down to the back straight. Lopez pulls to driver's right, and once again, the 8 machine pulls out of the slipstream. Meanwhile, behind, Twan has gone around Justin Tipton. So move the purple and black number 6 of Twan up to the 3rd spot. Tipton back to 4th. Antonitis, Bullion, and Seitz round out your top 7 right now as they run a little bit deeper down. You have Barrison and Fuentes. They're just coming under the Suzuki Bridge on the run down into the final corner as well. We see Precario and Lopez. They've broken the gap even more so, out to a 2.5 seconds. At this point, I think your top 2 are free and clear of the slipstream in 3rd.
I think they should be clear enough, but I think the strategy that Andrew Mercado perhaps is going for, and I think you also are right, Randy. If they go side by side going into 10A, 10B, I think it's more if they just swap places. But I think the strategy that Andrew Precario is putting in right now is just let Arakawa Lopez dictate the pace and Andrew Precario just stay behind. Now, I know that we noticed that Andrew Precario just was peeking to the right side, but I think this is more... it has to do more with the fact that perhaps Andrew Precario not trying to overheat the engine, because we have seen that if you try to run the slipstream for way too long, these engines can go boom.
So down the back straight, they're going to come once again, all the drivers cycling through, and that's one thing you really do have to keep in mind, Alvin, is the slipstream effect in these cars and the overheating issue that comes with it. We saw it originally in the first season from Okayama, and this is going to be another racetrack where it could happen again. Andrew Precario pulls out of the slipstream. Meanwhile, behind, Justin Tipton cycles out in front of Twan and Fahim Antonitis. He wants to get the move done as well. He moves up the inside of Twan, and they're going to go 2 by 2 as they're fighting behind as well. Justin Tipton gets clear. Antonitis just gets the spot, but Twan clips the apex of the chicane much better. Greg Seitz picked up the spot on Francois Bullion as well. Through the final corner they come, and will Twan make a move with the run he has? He definitely has momentum. He definitely has a draft. Does he slide his car up the inside in corner number 1? No, he's not. So we're going to anticipate that they're going to be single file all the way up and then back down the hill through at least corner number 5. Not a lot of side-by-side opportunities here through the S's. You can, throw a bit of a cheeky pass at the top of the hill into 3, but a little bit early going is just yet for that, Alvin.
And now here's something that Justin Tipton perhaps he can do as well. If he can break away from this secondary pack, perhaps there is that chance that he can reel in Andrew Precario and Arakawa Lopez. Last time around, yes, he was only 1/10 faster, but if he keeps this pace little by little, I think he may have a chance to kind of catch this group. But I said that, and well, that secondary group, Fahim Antonitis, Duan, Greg Seitz, and Francois Bullion right close to him.
So as they work down onto the back straightaway for the 7th time, going to be half distance at the conclusion of this lap. Can Justin Tipton reel in the guys ahead? He's not close enough to be getting the slipstream on Precario, but I think Antonitis is going to be just getting a sniff of it from him behind. So midway down the back straight, Antonitis goes defensive on the right. Twan has a draft though of Tipton behind, and I think we're going to see Tron pick up 2 spots potentially in the chicane. No, Tron backs out of it. You also have Greg Seitz. He's making a move on Antonitis, trying to move himself up a spot through the second part of the chicane here and up the hill under the Suzuki Bridge. Target the right-hand side color board and move yourself down into the final corner. Great move from Seitz, great move from Tron, and Justin Tipton still, Alvin, that gap is growing huge between P2 and P3, out to just under 2 seconds.
Yeah, it is. Last time around, Justin Tipton was 1/10 faster on the previous lap, but this time Arakawa Lopez is 3/10 faster than this secondary group. So I think that for this secondary group, if they want to catch this leading group, they gotta pray for Andrew Precario to start fighting with Arakawa Lopez, and it really doesn't look like that is going to happen. Andrew Precario doing a very smart race. He knows that he is not going to win the race right now, so perhaps trying to pull away that gap, and then perhaps with 3, maybe 2 laps to go, then bring the fight to Arakawa Lopez for the lead.
Important to remember that Andrew Precario last week was in a position to potentially snag a race win at VIR, but after an issue with Tim Badeau, he saw those hopes absolutely crushed. So I think today, if you're Andrew Precario, you don't want to race Arakawa Lopez too hard just yet. You want to make sure you can get within that last few lap window and try to bring this race home, even if in second place. But if you can, try to snag the wins. Fight for third, though, is most definitely going to heat up down the back straight. Twan has that sniff of slipstream, and he's going to move to driver's left. Greg Seitz is going to have a run as well, and being the 3rd car in line, he has the super slipstream slipstream. They're going to be 3 wide on the run of the chicane with Greg Seitz looking to the left. They get it back down to 2 wide as Antonitis wants to try to throw it up the inside of Tipton, but not close enough. Seitz side by side with Tron through the chicane. We see the outside run here, Alvin, today. If you can keep it, it's strong through the chicane. The 4 machine of Antonitis trying to make it 2 cars into 1 through the final corner. Not going to be able to do so. Clips the grass, gets way loose, and he actually clips that curb. The 3 machine now of Francois Bolian has the run as they work themselves down the front straightaway into the first corner, but no, he's not going to make a move just yet. But I think right now the one wild card in this second pack, Alvin, that's going to hold everyone up is Fahim Antonitis, because he looks the most aggressive of anyone in this little pack right here.
And he definitely, oh my God, a big moment there by Fahim Antonitis. Yes, he is super aggressive. He is showing that, but now as a result, Francois Boulian just fell right behind him, and that secondary group is pretty much now breaking away. So Justin Tipton, Greg Seitz, and Tuan Tron, I think they are safe pretty much for now, but as we have seen, Randy, they are gonna keep fighting for that P number 3, and well, the more they fight, the more that lead group, they keep pulling away.
So down on towards the back straightaway, your entire field will come once again. Race leaders have been stretching the gap further and further. The gap between Adecoba Lopez in first and Greg Seitz in third last time through with 2.8 seconds. And if you watch on the cameras, you see Precario moving out to driver's right, getting clean air into that engine, realizes there's no risk just yet to overheat that motor, as it's going to be 5 laps to go at the line. The 2 of Greg Seitz, though, is in third, but he's not safe as Tuan Tron looks at the inside, but instantly enough pulls out of it into the chicane. Meanwhile, behind, Francois Bolian makes the move on Antonitis down into the final corner. He picks that spot up as Justin Tipton is trying to close the gap on Tron out in front. Right now, I think, Alvin, we're about to see this little battle pack. If they can close up, especially between Bolian as well as Antonitis, if they can close on Tipton, Tron, and Seitz, I think this fight for third place is going to get really aggressive, because this is around the point these guys will realize that, you know what, they've opened up a 3-second gap to 2 cars out in front of us. There's no way we're going to catch them. It's about time we go fighting and trying to pick up spots themselves.
And it will pretty much depend on how much fighting this secondary group starts putting in, and we have seen that they are fighting, and Tuan Tron getting really close to Greg Seitz right here through the S's, and this is going to be the big factor. The more they fight, the more advantage for Francois Boulian and Fahim Antonitis that they will be able to close that gap. And as it seems right now, Randy, from what we have seen in this race, they are going to get fighting once they get through the backstretch, so watch out.
Question's going to be, though, can Antonitis and Bolian reel in the trio of Tipton, Tron, and Seitz? They come onto the back straightaway once again. It's all going to depend on how those 2 in 6th and 7th treat this situation, if they have any hope of reeling in 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. Down the back straight, 3rd through 5th come, and the 6th machine of Tuan Tron is going to look to driver's right on Greg Seitz. Greg, no way he's probably going to be able to defend that position. He wants to just cycle himself into a spot. The 7 machine of Tipton, he's going to drop back. Meanwhile, the 4 of Antonitis fights with Bolian down the hill into the braking zone at the chicane, and he gets clear well before the turning point. So good move there by Antonitis, and I think they've brought the gap in just a little bit here, Alvin, but not quite enough, I think, in order to have the slipstream yet. 4 laps to go at the line, and they're gaining little by little by little. Let's see what the lap times are this time through. The 34.6 for Tipton versus a 34.5 for Antonitis, so a couple hundredths reeled in, but overall not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot indeed, but you know, little by little, that's what you need. But our thing is that time is running out. We're only 4 laps here to go, but I think the move that Fahim Antonitis did, it was really smart. Francois Boulian knew that he wasn't going to be able to defend that position going into 10A, and if he wanted to fight it, well, that gap was going to grow a lot bigger, so it was just smart to let him go, just the same way that Greg Seitz saw on that battle with Tuan Tron. He knew that it was really no point in trying to fight for that position, so let Tuan Tron go, slot into position, and kudos also to Justin Tipton for realizing that position and leaving just a gap for his teammate to just get in.
Now the question has to be, there's going to be 3 laps to go at the line. If you're Andy Precario, when do you turn the heat up? And it seems like the answer is right now. He looks to driver's right on Adecoba Lopez, and that white number 8 machine wants the race lead as they run themselves down the hill into the braking zone at the chicane here at 10A and 10B. 1 machine of Lopez doesn't seem to mind one bit, cycles himself back in line, just wants to get back to the racing line as they work themselves through 10B and out up the hill. Looking back behind once again, Tuan Tron and Greg Seitz, they swap positions Justin Tinton stays where he's at. So P number 3 gets swapped to Greg Seitz. Twan slots himself into 4th. Meanwhile, Bully and Antonitis, they just swap positions once again as well. If the 4 machine gets a big run off the final corner, is he going to slot it up the inside of that 3 machine? No, he's not. But the 4 of Antonitis, I think, has been the aggressor here since the drop of the green flag, Alvin. 3 laps left to go. I think if you're bullying, you can't feel safe.
Definitely, Bullion is not safe here. He's out of the woods, and Fahim Antonitis really putting the pressure. He's been putting that pressure throughout all race. Yes, he's right now running in P number 7, so it may not seem like much, but Fahim Antonitis definitely the driver to look here in this race. But trying to, meanwhile, looking more in front here. Could we see the same move that Araikoa Lopez pulled out for the win last week, where he kind of led the car running in P2, take the lead in the middle of the backstretch just to get it, just to get the lead just before the breaking point and get the win?
I think it's one of those things, though, Alvin, because we saw that fantastic move from Lopez at VIR, and as they come down the back straight, Lopez actually, instantly enough, lifts out of the throttle. I think the main thing to keep in mind, though, for Lopez is that the last sector of this racetrack is nothing like the last sector at VIR. So the last sector of VIR, once you get down to the end of the back straight and get going down through the roller coaster and hog pen, it's pretty much all single file through there to the checkered flag, other than the start-finish line, where maybe you can have a big slipstream run. Here, though, if you fight side by side into the chicane, if that driver who may or may not have been on the offline gets a good run, he can fight with you all the way through and keep you side by side through the final corner. So as we're 2 laps to go, I think if you're Lopez, I think waiting on the back straight, it may be the good play, but it's not the safe one that it was last week.
And you definitely bring a good point there, Randy. DIR, yeah, once you get into the SS, well, into the hog pen, yeah, it is single file, but here you can go into the chicane pretty much side by side all the way through the Suzuki Bridge into turn 1. So what Araikoa Lopez will do, that is the real question here. I think there is the possibility that he may go for the lead here into the backstretch, so that going into the backstretch for the final lap, he will have the advantage. And I know this sounds kind of strange, given that we have seen that the car that is running behind pretty much gets the advantage on the slipstream, but I think Araikoa Lopez this time, he is going to fight it.
So they work themselves on the back straight, down the back straight for the final time. We see Araikoa Lopez intentionally move out of the slipstream, so he wants to be the second place running car come the start of the final lap. Twan though, and this second group, how will they decide how to do this? As Greg Seitz tries to reel in the 6 machine, Greg Seitz wants to be leading this second pack. He looks to the inside of the purple and black number 6 machine, and the 7 of Tipton wants to follow his teammate through. Turns number 10A and 10B, they come, and Tron cycles himself back comfortably in the 4th, down into the final corner. Go your race leaders, and Lopez still runs into the second spot. Here comes 3rd through 5th as well. They're going to cycle through, and then through the top 2 packs, we're seeing 2 vastly different strategies. Let's keep track, though, with your race leaders as they work themselves into 1. Meanwhile, Tintin, I will say they say that, he looks side by side with Tron, and that's going to give Seitz a little bit of a gap. Up into corner number 3 for the final time. We haven't seen anyone make a move up here just yet, and no one's going to make a move among your race leaders. Down through the S's for the final time on the run into the 5th corner. That terrifying left-hander that if you get it a little bit wrong can end your race. Through turn 5 for the final time, up and over that little hill, up and over that scary curb they come. You see Tron being all sorts of aggressive with it. And now they come into 6 and 7, the precursor, the calm before the storm, before the main part of the racetrack that has brought us all the changes for position today. Off the corner they come, and Araikoa Lopez pushes a little bit wide. This is going to hurt his run just a little bit, but I don't think so much so that he's out of it. Andrew Percario, how's he going to play this? He needs to try to break this slipstream, as I feel. They work themselves down this long back straightaway. Araikoa Lopez has a run, has the slipstream. You see Andrew Percario going defensive to the left-hand side, the number 1 machine of Araikoa Lopez. He's going to try to do it the long way round through 10A. They're going to be 3 wide for 3rd as well behind. But your race leaders are side by side for the race lead. And Andrew Percario works the cutback off of 10B, and he has the momentum under the Suzuki Bridge. Down the hill into the final corner, the number 1 machine of Lopez going to try to work the cutback back, but no. The Iberia Racing Team driver will fall just short. Greg Seitz will come home 3rd, Tron 4th, and Justin Tipton will round out your top 5.
And that was a fantastic finish. I have to say, congratulations to Andrew Procario. He did what he had to do. Aracoba Lopez, well, had to say, even though I think he came in with a smart strategy to try to get the lead going into the final lap on the back straight, unfortunately, that also meant that if you want to get that run, if you're running side by side, you also got to get a good run coming out of the chicane. Unfortunately, he didn't, and Andrew Procario, I think he definitely stole the win here today.
So with that, we will go down your post-race results here from the 4th round of the Skip Barber Racing School Championship. Andrew Procario and Aracoba Lopez were the class of the field today, breaking out a 3-second margin over the rest of the field. Lopez led most of that distance, but Andrew Procario, fantastic car placement in the last couple laps. He will come away with the win by less than 1/10 of a second over Aracoba Lopez. Funnily enough, Greg Seitz, Tuan Tron, Justin Tipton through 3rd through 5th. Saw all the drama on that last lap, them going 3 wide through the chicane and then under the Suzuki Bridge. They actually finished in the order that they started the lap. So going 3 wide and everything, and none of them changed a single position. Lee Antonitis will finish where he started in 6th, Francois Bollier in 7th, Daniel Paris in 8th, Oliver Fuentes 9th, and Russell Clark will round out the top 10. Alex McKellar will finish 11th, Justin Smith 12th, Edwin Valerino in 13th. 14th, you have Ignacio Sanchez, Daniel Forgarini in 15th, Carl Dronke 16th, Kane Halliburton 17th, and Alexandre Martini in the 18th spot. Fantastic racing all the way through, Alvin. I can't wait till next week.
Definitely, if this race was an indicator of what we may see next week, definitely come here next week, watch the race, because it's definitely gonna be fantastic. But so now I think we're gonna have the next race here. Remember the track, but Randy, I think in a couple of minutes you got another race.
Yeah, we're going to have another race for you in just a moment's time. But going to next week, we're going to be at Suzuka in the land of the rising sun. So 10 laps around the Grand Prix circuit at Suzuka. That's going to be entertaining. And for these little Formula 2000 cars, once again, all sorts of slipstream to be had. But if you're not done watching iRacing broadcast just yet today, stay with us here on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live, as myself, Jake Blackhall, and Hugo Lee bring you all the action from the Raven Graphics and eSpeed Contender Series, as we're going to kick off the Raven Graphics Watkins Glen 125 here in just a few moments' time. But from myself, Randy Chennett, from Alvin Nieves, from Hugo Louis, and everyone at RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live, thank you tons for joining in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.